Hi there, boys and girls in TV land. Today I'd like to tackle the Jimmy Page solo acoustic piece. I believe it's pronounced Bron-Yr-Aur, named after a cottage in Wales, which means Golden Hill or Hill of Gold in Welsh. He wrote it and recorded it in 1970 during the making of Led Zeppelin III, but it wasn't released until '75 Physical Graffiti. And I'm going to slow it down for you like I did with Steve Howe's The Clap so that you can learn how to play it. I learned how to play it by listening to it and watching some of the videos on YouTube, and some are played very beautifully, but I don't think any one of them quite got it. They got all the notes and stuff, it's just the way they're playing it. Some play it as if it's a classical piece, so they have Jimmy using the thumb for the bottom two and three fingers, and to me, it's a Travis picking song. It's like if you can play Dust in the Wind by Kansas, you can play Bron-Yr-Aur. It's also very similar to Going to California, and if you saw the live Zeppelin DVD, you see Jimmy playing it. That one's tuned down to D, and he's using a thumb pick in his fingers. I can't play so well with a thumb pick, but I'm going to hybrid pick and play with a pick and these two fingers. And you can play it with your fingers only, but I believe at the very end there are some flat picking parts that are a bit harder playing it with your hands. So I'm going to play it with a flat pick. The whole song is Travis picking except for the very last couple of smears. And in these videos I also saw another guy playing it with his thumb on 4 strings, and then people were just making it way too hard than it needs to be. It's really not that hard. So besides the Travis picking, the main thing in the song also is the open C tuning. So you have, you tune the 6th string down to C, the 5th string stays the same at A, the 4th string goes down to C, so you have the droning C's, octaves, and then the 3rd string stays at G, the 2nd string goes up to C, so now you have 3 C's, all octaves, and then the upper string is open E. And the other really important thing in this song is what I call the B string, or the 2nd string, but it's a C in this case. It's going to drone throughout it, and you're going to use it as what I call a pivot or a pedal point. I don't know if I'm using those terms right, but it's used actually a lot. It drones so that you can get between chords. So at the end of many of the chords, he just hits the open C and then moves to the next chord. It gives the hands a break between the changes. All right, so I'm just going to play it through slowly and stop and explain things, and I think you'll find this very helpful. Okay, so the main chord is an open C, and in order to play it, you put it on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So these two strings are identical. And then you start with your Travis picking. So what you want your bass to do is got that? Then it moves up to here. So all right. So again, when I slow it down, it's harder to play, so I'm going to make mistakes, but just bear with me. Here we go again. right, so after you go, there's your open C, what I call the pivot, which lets you release your hands to get to the next chord, which is some sort of D chord, and you're playing those two notes at the same time. You're keeping the Travis picking bass line going. And that's really the hardest part right there, is getting that pinky on the G and pulling off while you're still doing the bass notes. So it's... You almost put that pinky on there and just let it, almost like it's a dead finger, and just let it pull off. And the end of that phrase again is that open C, so it goes. That gives you a chance to get to the next chord. So we got... Oh, and there's something I left out in the very beginning. He slides into that. It's... And most of the times that he goes back to the open C chord, he's hammering on. So, right? So it's... All right. Again, when I get to that, you want to hammer on. So it's... Again, the open C, open second string. So we got... So do it again. So we have... So that's an open E string, so back to the, make sure all those sympathetic tones ring out, but you want to always go back to that C drone. Let's do it again. So we got... Do it again. All right, now the next part, so when it's going... Ready? I'm going to mess this up, but when I do it slow, it is harder. Last one is low C, so its bass line is... So it's... Got that? So let's go back. So when you get after the... So you could slide into that note, but you're still keeping the Travis style. I see a lot of the guys on the videos just going, and it's really not that. It kind of sounds like that, but Jimmy's just hanging back, relaxing, continuing with that Travis thing. You just got to be chilled about it. So he's really going. So almost like Stairway to Heaven there. Again, the pivot. You can bar that. I've seen some people play it like this, but I'm pretty sure Jimmy does that. It's just easier because now later you got to go. All right, so just bar that, and when you have to play the open E, just lift the whole thing up. Ah. Touch. All right, so when we get to the keep the Travis. And then just slide that up to the 5th fret and lock the thumb around with the bass. And it's hard to keep that in tune, but you're just going to slide the bass up and this note will just carry up. So you only just have to hit that bass to slide up. So it's... Got it? It's going to start going out of tune. So it's keeping this in tune then. Let's see what we got here. All right. So it's again the pivot. Ah. I made a couple mistakes there hitting this open string a bit, but usually really emphasize this open C here. So ah. Ah. So you got that? Again, in between all the notes is that open C so you can get to the next chord. So it's... So then he goes, all right? This is where you use the flat pick at the very end, okay? So it's... Well, I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, ping me on the YouTube.